To pass this lesson, fill in the blanks and respond to the questions on the answer key to the right. Make sure to pay special attention to this course to learn the correct answers. You will see a box like this containing the information you'll need for the answer portion. Pay special attention to the information in bold. Be sure to check spelling when answering. In this course, you will learn about the New Kingdom period in Egypt. Egypt's New Kingdom lasted for approximately 500 years, according to many historians. Towards the end of the Second Intermediate Period, the Egyptians began to drive the Hyksos out. Eventually successful in this endeavor, the Egyptian pharaohs didn't stop there. They expanded their borders, establishing themselves as a power and ushering in Egypt's most prosperous time. Like their ancestors who commissioned the Great Pyramids, pharaohs of the New Kingdom sought to establish their power and wealth by building monumental architecture and statuary honoring gods and themselves. The capital, located in Thebes, reflected a wealth of art, gold, treasures, and fine cloth. Monumental architecture is large, man-made structures of stone or earth. It would seem that each of the New Kingdom pharaohs wanted to outdo those before them in building the most over-the-top structures. One such ruler was Hatshepsut, the best-known female ruler of Egypt. She declared herself king a few years into the reign of her stepson, Thutmose III. This life-size statue shows her in the ceremonial attire of an Egyptian pharaoh, which was traditionally a man's role. As with many royal statues, inscriptions on the sides present Hatshepsut's kingly titles. Soon after taking over as pharaoh, Hatshepsut began construction on a mortuary temple in western Thebes, beside a temple built by Mentuhotep II. Do you remember the military king who united Egypt at the beginning of the Middle Kingdom? Well, that's him. Mortuary temples were memorial temples built near royal tombs in ancient Egypt. Here's pictured what the temples would have looked like when they were first built. On the right you can see Hatshepsut's temple, and on the left you can see Mentuhotep II. Hatshepsut's temple is dedicated to the sun god Amon-Ra, and was designed by her royal architect Senenmut. Senenmut used Mentuhotep's temple as inspiration, but changed many features. Hatshepsut's temple employs 3 lengthy colonnaded terraces on the front. Each terrace is connected by long ramps, which were originally surrounded by gardens with foreign plants including frankincense and myrrh trees. Inside, the temple is covered in relief sculptures. Unfortunately, much of it has been destroyed. Historians do know that some of parts of the reliefs tell the tale of the divine birth of a female pharaoh, the first of its kind. This is another example of the power that Hatshepsut gained in her time. Other features of the temple, most now lost, include statues of the gods both inside and along the outer columns. There was also an avenue lined with sphinxes leading up to the temple. These sphinxes had the head of Hatshepsut, and visitors had to walk by them in order to reach the temple. Many of these statues and portraits were destroyed at the order of her stepson Thutmose III after Hatshepsut's death. Another example of monumental sculpture in the New Kingdom are the Abu Simbel temples. The Abu Simbel temples are 2 massive rock temples in southern Egypt. The twin temples were originally carved out of the mountainside during the reign of Pharaoh Ramesses the Great in the 13th century BCE. As a monument to himself and his queen, Nefertari, he had them built to commemorate a victory in battle. Like Hatshepsut's temple, Ramses was dedicated to the sun god Ra. 4 huge 65-foot tall statues of the pharaoh seated on a throne and wearing the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt decorate the facade of the temple, which is 115 feet wide and is topped by a frieze that depicts 22 baboons, their arms raised in the air in worship of the sun. The statues of Ramses were sculpted directly from the rock in which the temple was located. The statue to the left of the entrance was damaged in an earthquake, leaving only the lower part of the statue still intact. The head and torso can still be seen at the statue's feet. Next to the legs of the statues, there are smaller figures no taller than the knees of the pharaoh. These depict Nefertari, Ramses' chief wife, and mother of his royal children. Here's a close-up of one of those Nefertari sculptures. Beyond monumental sculpture, such as the numerous mortuary temples, were the tombs of the New Kingdom. No longer did pharaohs have pyramids built, but they and other wealthy individuals chose to have lavishly decorated rock-cut tombs, many of which are in the Valley of the Kings. Most famous of these is the tomb of Tutankhamun, also known as King Tut. Unlike many of the other tombs of the New Kingdom, King Tut's tomb remained largely hidden from robbers and its treasures locked inside until the early 1920s. King Tut was buried in a tomb that was small relative to his status. His death may have occurred unexpectedly before the completion of a grander royal tomb, so that his mummy was buried in a tomb intended for someone else. King Tut became pharaoh at the age of 9 and only reigned until his death at the age of 19. The tomb itself contains 4 chambers, each of which are filled with treasure. Egyptians believed the pharaoh could take these riches into the afterlife and use them to show his power as he took his place among the gods. In the burial chamber, King Tut's mummy was placed inside 3 sarcophagi, or coffins, which were meant to protect the pharaoh's body until he was reborn in the afterlife. The innermost coffin, or sarcophagus, was made from solid gold. Most famous of all is the gold death mask that Tut's mummy wears. Preparations for the afterlife were recorded and illustrated in long papyrus scrolls buried with the dead. The best known of these is the Book of the Dead. The Book of the Dead consisted of a number of magic spells intended to assist a dead person's journey through the underworld and into the afterlife. Some of these spells were inscribed inside sarcophagi, and a copy of the book was left somewhere inside the tomb. There were multiple books of the dead, and no 2 were exactly alike. Here's a picture of a common scene from the Book of the Dead. Anubis, god of the underworld with the head of a jackal, is shown weighing a human heart against a feather, determining whether the person was good or evil in life. The god Ma'at, the figure with the crocodile head, is waiting to gobble down the sinful hearts. Egypt's New Kingdom was full of wealth and prosperity. The pharaohs commissioned grand structures in their own honor, and artisans created beautiful handcrafted work. However, like the periods before, this time came to an end. The assassination of Ramses III marked the beginning of decline. The New Kingdom ended with a series of weak kings, a corrupt administrative system, tomb robberies, and incursions from other countries into the southern region. It would be another 2,400 years before Egypt was once more its own master.